Is Russia's invasion of Ukraine coming near a possible end? Will Trump give in to Putin and spoil it? Trump wants to court martial Mark Kelly for reminding service members of their oath. Today, it is me and Stephen Weber on the pod. And since we've both taken that oath, we'll tell you what we think is really going on here. Then we'll get into a whole bunch of reasons why it's just not going very well for Trump and the Republicans. So much so that a bunch of them seem to want to quit. Welcome back to the podcast for the 54% of Americans who regularly vote for progress in every election and want to convince their friends and family members to join a majority. This is Majority 54. Ravi is out this week because he has returned to the United States to make Thanksgiving dinner for his family, and I think is spending the entire day doing that. But we are joined by my friend Stephen Weber, state senator from the utopia in the middle of Missouri known as Boone County, and Marine and former chair of the Missouri Democratic Party and all sorts of other great things. Stephen, how you doing?
And someone who's not making dinner for their family for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, likewise. I'm going to my brother's house. So
I had so much fun last week. I'm happy to be back. Thanks for having me.
Well, we are enjoying having you regularly. All right. So the Ukraine peace deal situation. Before we start going into these clips, here's my quick primer for those who have not followed this closely. Basically, it started with a draft of a peace plan that was really a Russian wish list. In fact, people looked at it and realized, oh, this was translated from the original Russian. And it's now being characterized as having changed in such a way that Ukraine has agreed to do a pretty decent amount of what's in there in principle. Now, they got rid, I think it was a 28-point plan originally. They got rid of about 9 of those points for sure. Then that was like no-go stuff that Zelensky had said was a no-go that Russia had in there. Those came off the top right away. But there's still said to be some major details to work out, including which land is actually given up, if any, to Russia, which is a pretty major detail. And that would be discussed by Trump and Zelensky potentially at a meeting in Mar-a-Lago in the coming weeks. And then there's also this controversy about a conversation between Witkoff, which is the envoy that Trump, first sent to the Middle East and is now sending to the Russia-Ukraine thing, or I guess it's primarily been in the Russia-Ukraine deal, and him and his Russian counterpart. So I guess let's start with this leaked audio. Before we even go into a clip, Stephen, did you get a chance to read the transcript, the Bloomberg piece about this leaked audio?
Yeah, as much as people want to criticize the Trump administration for just taking the Russian plan, nobody's really giving them enough credit for being willing to at least translate it from the original Russian. So you can't say they're doing that.
Yeah.
The problem here is that the Trump administration is one, they're lazy, right? And diplomacy like this takes a lot of work, which they don't want to do. 2, they're stupid. And this is a really complex issue that's gone on for, Russian aggression for thousands or hundreds of years at least. And 3, they don't care. And so they don't care what the peace plan says. They don't care what the proposals are. They just care about being able to take credit for it. So they don't care what's in it. Trump just wants to be able to say,
Jeremy, are you having trouble hearing Stephen, or is it just me? Yeah. Oh, it's just me. Okay. Keep going.
Okay. So, if you're lazy, stupid, and don't care, it's not a good recipe for being able to solve a really complex international issue. And to your point about, and we'll see some of this in the clips, but the idea of we don't know which, minor details. These are not minor details. These are really important, significant things. Like what land to give up. Like, to be clear, any land that Russia takes from Ukraine, they're going to, as they've already been doing, they're going to continue raping women in that land. They're going to torture the people in that land. And so what seems like a minor detail, I guess, to the Trump administration is a pretty massive thing. If you're Ukrainian, if we had a national conversation about whether we should give up, Florida or Maine to another country, knowing they were going to torture to death the people in that country, like that's not just a minor detail that's going to work out. This is pretty significant stuff, and I'm incredibly skeptical that they're close on this.
So I'm having trouble hearing you right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the first ad break, and then I'm going to work out the signal issues on my end, and then we'll come back and finish the conversation. So Jeremy, if you want to throw that.
Have you ever found the perfect couch or lamp online and then the sticker shock reminds you it's out of reach for your budget? That's why I use dupe.com. It's simple. You just type dupe.com/before any product URL and Dupe instantly shows you similar and more affordable alternatives. Is perfect for finding the best deals for your holiday shopping. We're in that season now. And these aren't sketchy knockoffs. The truth is, most products you see online, from furniture to fashion to gadgets, are mass-produced in the same factories, and brands just slap on different labels and markups and dupe surfaces those same prices, those same pieces for way less. So you're not overpaying just for a name. That $5,000 sofa, $1,200 designer handbag, or $800 statement light fixture you've been eyeing, Dupe finds them, or something nearly identical, for a fraction of the price. And it's no wonder that Dupe has gone viral on TikTok. Millions of people already use it to save thousands on furniture and decor, sometimes 60, 70, even 80% off. And here's the kicker. It's completely free. This holiday season, Dupe is giving away 1 million Dupe points, and you could turn those points straight into gift cards. And here's how it works. You earn Dupe points just by shopping with Dupe. No payment, no catch. Just search for the products you want, save money, and rack up points. Want even more? Share Dupe with your friends. They save, you earn extra points, and that means more gift cards for both of you. So for a limited time, the first 10,000 people who go to dupe.com/majority will get 500 Dupe points instantly. So let me say that again. The first 10,000 people who go to dupe.com/majority will get 500 Dupe points instantly, redeemable for gift cards, no catch. But spots are limited, so don't wait. So that's dupe.com/majority for 500 free Dupe points today. Use your Dupe points and gift cards to make the most of your holiday shopping. Go to dupe.com/majority. IndaCloud is a fully legal online dispensary. No cards, no dispensary runs, no mystery gummies from a friend's cousin. They already delivered over 10 million gummies, mountains of flour, and enough pre-rolls to get another election season going. Every product is tested in DEA certified labs and shipped straight to your door discreetly. And IndaCloud is by far one of my favorite and most fun partners to work with. I've tried IndaCloud many times. And they have all these different flavors and different varieties. And one of the saddest things in coming to Italy was I had to discard a bunch of that stuff as I was heading out here. And I particularly like to, take these gummies, watch a cool movie or something. And sometimes I even take them before sleep because it can help for that too. Sometimes it even takes an edge off of a hangover. So if you want something stronger, there's even something called the Beast Mode collection. And it's still legal, still tested. And if flour's your thing, IndaCloud does exclusive deals year round. No gimmicks, no fine print. It's federally legal, THC made simple. That's why more than 50,000 customers already trust IndaCloud to keep their buzz hassle-free. If you're 21 or older, head to indacloud.co. Use code MAJORITY for 30% off your first order, plus free shipping. That's indacloud.co, code MAJORITY, 30% off, free shipping, and less stress delivered to your door. Support the show by filling out their quick survey when you order, and thank IndaCloud for making the news cycle just a little easier to handle. Don't forget, please enjoy responsibly.
Welcome back to Majority 54, the podcast for the 54% of the country that regularly votes for progress. So we were talking before the break about some of the problems with the Russia proposal for Ukraine giving them some of their land. And there's also been some issues on the procedure by which U.S. diplomats have been coaching Trump and Russia on how to get things out of Trump. So we've got some clips on Trump specifically talking about this deal and about the issue of his people coaching Putin on how to best manipulate him.
Do you think that Ukraine was being asked to give too much land back to Russia? I know at one point you said they shouldn't have to give any back.
It's really up. Look, the way it's going, if you look, it's just moving in one direction. So eventually that's land that over the next couple of months might be gotten by Russia anyway. So do you want to fight and lose another 50, 60,000 people? Or do you want to do something now? In some cases, the land is going in the other direction. So they're negotiating. They're trying to get it done. You want to have a border? You can't have a border that goes through a highway or a border that goes through the middle of a town. So that doesn't work. So it's a long, complicated process. And very, very sad because so many people are being killed.
So those that have been advocating for Russia on the side of the war have been saying for years now that Ukraine can't hold. I mean, President Trump there was saying that basically that losing is inevitable, and how many more people do they want to lose? But we should point out that Ukraine's been holding out for several years. I mean, this has been going on for a long time, and the entire time people were saying Ukraine's going to fall within the first 48 hours. Ukraine's going to fall by next year. And it is very clearly not inevitable. Ukraine is not doomed to lose this war to Russia or to give Russia their land. And part of that desperation is Putin is now manipulating U.S. diplomats to give him sort of the passcode or the ways to get things out of President Trump. And I think we have a clip on some controversy over Trump's staff helping Putin in this negotiation.
They're losing too many people.
Have you heard this audio that Bloomberg has of Witkoff coaching the Russians on how to appeal to you?
Well, I haven't heard it, no, but that's a standard thing, because he's got to sell this to Ukraine. He's got to sell Ukraine to Russia. That's what a deal maker does. You got to say, look, they want this. You got to convince them with this. That's a very standard form of negotiation. I haven't heard it, but I heard it was standard negotiation. And I would imagine he's saying the same thing to Ukraine, because each party has to give and take.
So you're worried that he's too pro-Russian?
So Trump, as he always does, just says he doesn't know anything about it. He's not sure exactly what's going on, but it seems standard. And that's something that we've seen Trump do consistently on, and this has become the Republican talking point on basically everything, right? If you ask them something that they don't like, they just say they don't know anything about it. Oh, I haven't heard that. I'm not aware of it. And that's obviously becoming pretty played out. If we could jump real quick, even Senator Tillis has been saying that Russia is playing the United States. I think his quote is like a piano. Do we have that clip?
Russia's playing, really playing us like a piano right now. He's gotten everything he wants. He's gotten access to the president with a red carpet reception.
I think it is time to move on Russia's sanctions. President Trump wants to make sure that he is giving every opportunity for peace to get this war resolved, but Putin is playing him right now, and I think the president understands that.
He's been weak on Russia. I think he's been great on Iran, but he has been terrible on Russia. He is unable to call Putin out as the invader and have a more moral clarity about who's at fault in this war.
And that last clip is really important. Like, the bottom line here is that Russia unilaterally invaded Ukraine. Like, there's not two sides to this. This is not like we meet in the middle or we agree to split, half of the land. This was a Russian aggression. And we should also point out there's Republican members of Congress calling out Trump for his lack of moral clarity on this issue is pretty jarring. That's something that wouldn't have happened 6 months ago, and it's a sign of how Trump's hold over the Republican Party and the GOP is starting to slip. Moving on from that, I think Jason's trying to get through some audio issues here. So I really hope we can get his take on it, because he's got as an Army officer, he's got an important perspective on this. But one of the biggest issues that has come up this week is a manufactured controversy over a video Democratic lawmakers released, making the obvious point that troops don't have to do illegal things, that they can disobey illegal orders. So we've got a clip of that video, which will be important for setting the stage for the discussion.
The Senate also treated Pete like crap. He's not going to take this from another senator. There's a chain of command. Pete now controls Kelly. Kelly's going to come in, and he's going to get a little bit of a spanking. And Pete already looked at the war medals this guy had in his chest, and they're all cockeyed. They're in the wrong direction. The guy doesn't even know how to dress up.
Okay, so the original clip there is literally 6 members of Congress who were veterans and members of the intelligence community speaking directly to members of the military and to the veterans and to the intelligence community, thanking them for their service, saying they know it's hard, and just reminding them that they don't have to obey illegal orders. That should be about as uncontroversial as something can be, because the opposite of that argument is that if you're told to do illegal things, that you should do them, right? And that makes no sense. That's been a foundational principle of the United States military, particularly among the officer corps, which I was enlisted, so it wasn't as a big a deal thing to me, but it's certainly something I was aware of and something I heard. And that clip right there saying that Pete now controls Kelly. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that Senator Kelly from Arizona, a Navy who's a Navy captain, that they're going to recall him to active service, and they're going to try him under the UCMJ, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, saying that by bringing him back, he would be subject to that. And they're saying that it was sedition because he was encouraging members of the military to not follow the chain of command or disregard orders. That is rankly absurd. Rankly absurd. His actual comments were very clear that you're not obligated to follow illegal orders. Not saying anything was specifically illegal, just a general statement. A general statement that is true. It's true when there's a Democratic president. It's true when there's a Republican president. It's true when Trump is president. It's always true. It's a very common, basic statement. The idea that as Fox News points out, that Pete, being the Secretary of Defense, now controls Kelly is ridiculous. He doesn't control anything. He doesn't control a United States senator. He can threaten him, but he can't control him. And so that's, I think it's pretty much an example of just how desperate Trump and the Trump administration is right now to try to get some traction on something. So they're trying to play out the old hits. They're trying to manufacture controversies, and these are controversies that are not real, or not. They're just completely made up. So I think we're seeing that. Do we have any other clips? Do we have any other clips on the? Do we have any other clips on this controversy? Okay, so another thing that happened this week was the case against James Comey was dismissed. We've got a clip on that.
Let's put it this way. DOJ has now lost both of its two highest profile cases with one fell swoop, and they lost it because of incompetence, because they didn't install Lindsay Halligan into office in the proper way. And by the way, and this goes to the clip we just saw of the Attorney General, they knew they screwed up. The Justice Department knew they screwed up. And here's how we know they know. Because after they installed Lindsay Halligan, they tried to issue a memo a couple weeks later saying, well, actually, we call her this thing called a special attorney to the Justice Department. And the judge today said, yeah, it doesn't work that way. You don't get to issue something 2 weeks later and say, this goes back to 2 weeks ago. So it's a screw up at the most fundamental level. And for now, these cases are dead.
Yeah, I mean, what even is this?
All right, before we come back to that, we're going to try to restart the stream. We've lost Jason. Jason's having some problems. So we're going to restart the stream, and then we'll have a new live page, our new live link up on the page here in a second. So Jeremy, take us out.